Most masters athletes don't lose fitness simply because of age. They lose fitness more rapidly because they waste their energy chasing their ego. When you're over 40, like me, and let me tell you, I'm a couple years past the 40s, the game changes, right? I've coached thousands of athletes since 2007, and the same story repeats itself over and over again, where athletes try to train like they're still 20 or 25 or 30, or they try to race like they're 24 or 34 or 44, and you're not anymore. And they're ignoring their recovery. They're hammering themselves in the workouts. They're not paying attention to their nutrition. Strength training still seems like it's like a homework assignment or detention after school. And what happens? Injury, burnout, like serious like depression, especially for people whose identities are tied to their athletic selves, and they really end up in a bad place. But there's a better way, right? See, energy is your greatest resource. It's not your ego. When you were younger, you could just, be bullied into, you could be cajoled, you could be peer pressured into doing something that was beyond what you thought was possible. So someone would say, I bet you can't dunk that basketball. You'd go try it. As we age, that ability to leverage that mindset of just being super young and just trying whatever it is, we don't have as much of that capacity anymore. However, what we do have is really high self knowledge. We have incredible wisdom, earned our stripes through the ups and the downs over the handlebars, the mistakes that we've made in our past. We have an understanding of what does and doesn't work for us. We've built systems over time, and we've seen glimpses, in fact, repeat glimpses of what it means to put together a great season or a great race or whatever great means to you. And so when we think about it, actually the distribution of energy is your greatest resource. Whereas before, you would rely on your ego for these sort of hero moments in your season. Instead, we can rely on the smarts, the intelligence, and the skin in the game that you've been placing for the past 10, 15, 20 years of your competitive life, and turning that into a strength where we can actually figure out where's the best place to invest your energy for the maximum result. That's why we say inside Endurance Station, for the 4 pillars of Masters Endurance, it's always energy over ego. So listen, by the time you've hit 40 or 50 or 60, your body's changed. You've seen it in your day-to-day life. You see physical, you see mental, you see like spiritual manifestations of coming up to that understanding of what it means that you are no longer able to do whatever that thing it is, right? And so when you think about that mental capacity change, that focus positional change of sort of I'm on this side of the line when I used to live on this side of the line, it's a tough place for people to reconcile, regardless of gender, regardless of sport, regardless of experience, regardless of goals. Understanding human limitations and recognizing that those pertain to you now is a huge and tremendous shift. And for many people, it can be depressing. But as a coach, I've never met a constraint I didn't like. If I can't do this, there's plenty of other options. There's always a way to go around, over, under that hill. We just have to be strategic about it, right? So really, I want you to think more about your energy as a bank account. Whereas before you had this unlimited credit card where you could do whatever you want. Now you've got to be a little more deliberate. And we're going to use our skill and nuance to understand where we want to place our money, right? Where we can make a leverage bet, where we can actually get the most ROI for our effort and turn that into your strategic advantage, whether it's competition against yourself or looking to do a performance in a particular event, okay? And this is where ego comes in and really comes to like undermine you. We see it on social media these days, but it's easy to see that sense when your bravado is kicking in, you're trying to do something that sounds cool or that you think is impressive, but you really realize it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has something to do with this external part of you, the one that is really aware of what others think or aware of what others will think about the efforts you're doing, and has really very little to do to you, right? And so as we start to walk this fine line of coming to terms with our body, we also have to come to terms with this alter ego, the ego that has been driving us. What was originally sort of a partner on this journey that was pushing us to achieve incredible outcomes, but now also is a liability, or sometimes asks us to write checks we can't cash, and we do not want to be placed in that situation. So let me give you an example. Let's take a half Ironman. Let's take a really solid 6-hour effort, right? What does it mean to put together a good 6-hour effort? When we're young, you've got lots of opportunity to overachieve. You can mess up on the swim or go too hard on the bike. Your body will be able to recover and adapt and refocus. Now, as we think about being a master's athlete, we don't have the ability to recover back. Once we've burned a match, it's gone until tomorrow or maybe later this week. We don't have the luxury of being that crazy. However, we have the capacity to be much smarter. So whereas your younger self might have just plowed through transition at 90 miles an hour, Your smarter master self understands that this transition is a time to actually refuel. Avoid the mistakes you made in the past of jumping over your bike seat or mismounting or breaking something or losing your sunglasses, and instead getting into a place where you can be successful. Your master self will take a look at the course and say, I can understand where the critical success factors will be for me, and I'm going to train specifically for those areas to be a rock star in these 5 or 6 areas of the race. And then just then maybe I'll have the ability, I'll earn the right to roll the dice at the end of the day or in some other critical moment because I have been so smart. Precisely because I am a master's athlete, it means that I can do better. And because I've taken my ego and I put it down. And the most interesting part about this transition of thinking about energy over ego is that all of a sudden it's very easy to see the ego in everyone else. When you start having this perspective and you start recognizing like, oh, that's an ego-driven conversation that person's having. Like, how interesting. Like I too, I'm tempted, or sometimes I do have those conversations. Can you develop that perspective and the ability to resist the pull of ego long enough to realize the inner strength and potential that you have based on all the years in your sport, whatever if it's a new sport or just endurance sports in general, can you get there? So this, my friends, is a call to action. This is the first of the 4 pillars of Masters Endurance. Over the next few weeks, we'll be rolling out these videos here on YouTube to talk a little more deeply about it and to also give you a preview of our Mastering Masters, the focus that we'll be rolling out here inside Endurance Nation for the 25-26 winter as we move into our out season and beyond. The majority of our athletes are 40 plus. In fact, the majority of them are actually 50 plus. And honoring our athletes and supporting them on this journey as they have more time in their life, they have the equipment already in check, they've got more ambitions and a desire to branch out and try new things with their awesome fitness that they've built so far, we're going to be giving the protocols and processes to do that. And inside Endurance Nation, not only will we be providing the answers, the resources, the discounts, the training plans for those masters athletes, but we'll also have the community, a place where you can ask one another questions. What does it mean to be perimenopausal? What does it mean to have low testosterone? What does it mean to really think about my diet? Are GLPs right for me or not? What happens if I do have to take testosterone? What does that mean for me competitively? All those things will add up, and over time, we'll be able to put them together in a way that actually lets you become successful over time. We do it together. We do it without searching Google or using ChatGPT, but talking to people who've walked this path, capitalizing on not only what we've learned over over time and over the years, but we can capitalize on what our friends, our peers have also learned. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you for the next video, the second pillar, when I get back. See you, everyone.